The 1990s brought us a varying array of cartoons and TV shows that still have not been topped to this day, 20 years later. And out of these, there are some forgotten treasures that I believe should be heralded and put into their proper place and shown to be the creations of art and love that they are. During the 1990s, the cartoon genre in general boomed into a Saturday morning lineup so great it pushed Scooby Doo and Flintstones into the margins. Nickelodeon pumped out greatness from Rocco's Modern Life to Ren and Stimpy. Disney became a normal cable package channel and started creating classics like DuckTales and Tailspin. Fox, ABC, NBC, TBS, fueled by advertising, pushed their Saturday morning lineups into an every afternoon affair. The Simpsons and Power Rangers exploded. A new genre of adult-themed cartoons took shape and aimed at an older audience. It was almost successful enough to stay on long term, with the Critic and Duckman almost hanging on. Some of these are still talked about today, but others have been relegated to the back pages of YouTube, never to be heard from again, and a few don't deserve this treatment. So without further ado, I give you my top 5 forgotten cartoons of the 1990s. I give you number 5, Tailspin, produced by Disney, first airing in May of 1990. It had 65 episodes in a year. In 5 months and then disappear. Starring the bear, tiger, and king from the Jungle Book movie, Disney produced an amazing show that started their run of uninterrupted greatness in the 1990s. A bear flying a pontoon plane that tangles with air pirates and with a hyperdrive option. This show was amazing. From the cast to the animation being top notch, even by today's standards. With his main character being Baloo, the bear, who is a degenerate Kevin Costner-esque character, circa Tin Cup, who tangles with his boss via Ted Danson and Cheers. This show had depth, it had great character development, and it had style and grit. Even an orphan boy who tags along and saves Baloo a few times while flying on a saucer disc through the clouds. This show was ridiculous and should not be forgotten so easily. X-Men animated series, Fox Kids Saturday morning, produced by Marvel Comics. Running from 1992 to 1997, this show was dark and gritty. It was a cartoon show that bred comic books fans. It was not comic books fan cartoon show. This was the first foray into comics for most of the kids born in the 80s. The kids who watched the show religiously hated the movies but still owned the DVDs due to the sheer love of just this cartoon program. Wolverine was this show, getting nothing misunderstood. For the first time and probably the last, a TV or cartoon show got Wolverine correct. A dark anti-hero, short but strong, a rebel without a memory and often a harder cause. Perfection, Cable, Apocalypse, Rogue, and her actual fucking flying story. Flying sexy with a southern accent, the essence of beauty, a steaming temple of passion but unable to touch another human. Gambit, a criminal on the mend, a redneck Cajun outlaw with a fucking Cajun accent. Cyclops and his prototypical Superman complex. Hokey as always, Jean Grey, who they push so goddamn hard but still no one likes. Storm with her fucking African accent. How hard is it to find people to play these fucking characters from the goddamn regions they're from? Beast, motherfucking Beast being Beast. Kelsey Grammer does a great job in the newer movies, so I'm not gonna bitch. Much respect to Kelsey Grammer for being awesome. And Jean-Luc Picard, I mean Professor X, who Patrick Stewart is is Professor Picard X. This show had weak animation, but was amazing. One of those shows today, if you get caught watching, you'll be there 4 hours later, still binging in the 1990s essence and longing for a time when you can get lost in a masterpiece.
Doesn't mean I belong in here making potholders with the wackos. Besides, what gives you the right to judge other people anyway?
The diploma. Judging people is pretty much the main benefit.
That and the license plates with MD on them. You can park almost anywhere.
And when you think about it, isn't that exactly the point? Parking. And driving, and shopping, and eating, and working. Somewhere, somehow, they all got chewed up and spit back out. They don't taste like living anymore. Don't you see what it's like in this deranged, wearing blender of a world? Every day is an agonizing ordeal, like balancing a pot of scalding water on your head while people whip your legs and butt. Ah, you never forget your senior prom. That's probably nothing you haven't heard 100 times before.
Welcome to Duckman. Well, let me turn the volume down a little bit real quick. All right. Duckman, made by Classic Casupo, Paramount, and shown on USA Network from March 1994 to September 1997. What can be said for our cartoon show about a widower private eye duck who gets drunk and tries to fuck everything that walks? The abject poverty and squalor he lives in, the grandma who's dying on a Burka lounge or farting up a house, a son who's legally retarded, a genius son who has two heads, an angry militant feminist sister-in-law helping you raise these kids after her sister died. This show has heart. Comparing this show to a normal cartoon is like comparing Roseanne to the Kardashians. This show was dark and gritty, full of half-naked duck and chicken women, a man reaching for the brass ring only to be repeatedly smacked down by God, the Machiavellian undertones of Corn-Fed the Pig, a dragnet Joe Friday genius who knows 10 languages and martial arts, but still works under him and through him like a self-deprecating woman staying with a piece of shit man. This fucking show was a fucking masterpiece. A militant anti-PC message with so much punch it literally backed down all of California by itself. Duckman's secretaries, Fluffy and Elaine, is super PC, were killed every episode as they spewed some PC gibberish. They say art is supposed to imitate life, while at this show it shows the deep, dark, hidden side of the 90s. Behind all the suburban minivans, under that freeway overpass is a neighborhood of poor, working-class people with drinking problems who can't afford to put their elders in nursing homes, who fall into drugs and deal with crime. The neighborhoods just on the outside of those ghettos. The working class are real problems who are never even considered this show was for them. Hell, it was them, and only a few really knew it.
Cad, or I'll have to disarm you.
These are unnatural creatures. No good can come from the
Gargoyles, Walt Disney Television animation, originally on Disney in 1994, ran on ABC in syndication until 97. Disney had a resurgence in the 1990s. 2 names on this list and plenty more if you go for the more popular titles. But this show was dark. Like literally, the whole show took place at night when gargoyles were awake. But not just that, characters died on a fucking Saturday morning show. For a show meant for kids, this was dark and deep, complicated stories, love tales of gargoyle pussy being thrown around, a news reporter who was a babe, an eccentric billionaire who rebuilds a castle on top of a skyscraper in New York. This show had top-notch animation and was voiced perfectly. Deep voices, solemn vibes, no stupid comic relief. This show was spectacular. Think Batman meets an original story. So basically, the premise is a castle was cursed that would only be lifted if the castle rose above the clouds. A billionaire rebuilds the castle brick by brick on top of a skyscraper, and boom, gargoyles who used to guard the castle at night all of a sudden are thrown into New York. Their mentality is that of Vikings and samurais combined with a deep sense of humor and tradition. a deep sense of honor and tradition, but longing for war, they captured a downtime with an old man who wants to watch TV and relax. Younger wild warriors bumping shoulders. Getting the little thing perfect is what this show does to a T. If you can go watch it, you will stand here and ask why the fuck the shows today are so lacking in fucking depth. Gargoyles, check that shit out. Welcome to The Tick, 1994 to 1996. 34 episodes were made by Sunbow, Gratz, and Fox Children. This show I saved for last. The whole reason I made this video is because I found myself watching this show earlier with my 18-month-old daughter. Now, the show is about a giant man, like a 7-foot monster, who, as his partner sidekick, Arthur Moss, says he is impregnable. The Tick is a big dumb oaf with no fear and a love for his fellow man. It would be completely oaky if it wasn't for dumb as a bag of hammers mentality. Arthur, his sidekick, is a genius turned superhero, is just a man in a white suit with some wings and a pot belly. But he still charges into battle beside a behemoth who can withstand the barrage of their enemies. They protect the city, literally. The place's name is The City. This parody of a superhero's mantra often becomes better than what it parrots. This is other superheroes. There's other superheroes in the city who ham up for attention and often run when things get hard. The gritty nature of the animation becomes a good mood-setting device. It's dark and gritty and never takes itself too serious, which is a breath of fresh air when compared to Batman and Spider-Man and Superman, which often get treated like tomes of a religion. When it breaks forms or goes off the rails, it becomes better. Unlike when Spider-Man is this shitty villain, everyone screams like you just made Jesus into a fucking pedophile. The Tick, the original. Gotta check it out. Now, look here. If your favorite cartoon was not on here, go fuck yourself. This is a list of forgotten shit, not Doug or Animaniacs or these cartoons that are already being remade. These are cartoons we will never see again. Oh, and one I was iffy on was The Critic. I fucking loved that show, but it was kind of just Seinfeld animated. You know what I mean? Alright, y'all. Like, share, and subscribe, man. Much love. One.